Hi, I'm Vince Giordano, Executive Director of the New Jersey Education Association. NJEA is committed to celebrating excellence in education. That's why we're proud to support Teacher Appreciation Week, a special series produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation celebrating New Jersey's talented and dedicated teachers.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Wells Fargo, the law firm of Gibbons PC, PSC&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. And by Barnabas Health.
This is One-on-One.
That's good acting, yeah?
I get that a lot. I go to Atlantic City all the time, like, are you the guy? I go, no, I'm not.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
They thought that I wouldn't survive it, but I knew I would.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to Teacher Appreciation Week here on One-on-One. I am honored to introduce Jennifer Little, who is a drama teacher at Franklin High School and creator of a series called Shadows.
Right.
Fascinating stuff. You're going to be seeing a clip in just a little bit from our partners at the NJEA, New Jersey Education Association, part of our classroom close-up series that they are doing. By the way, real quick, Shadows stands for?
It's the name of our anti-bullying device drama. It's sort of an imagery that the students came up with. It's evocative of the fact that shadows is bullying is an underground problem. The victims' faces aren't seen, the bullies' faces aren't seen, everybody sort of hides the problem away. So one of the students reflected about how it's always in the shadows.
Well, this video is a powerful video from the Classroom Close-Up series that's seen right here with our partners at NJTV. Let's take a look at the video and then we'll talk to Jennifer right after that.
Things being thrown at me. Words slung like bullets.
This play is unlike most other high school performances.
Hey, you! I heard you were talking about me.
The lines are based on actual research the students conducted on bullying.
You were talking about me, and now I want to fight. Fight me over something I didn't even say? No, I'm not fighting anyone.
Shadows is an extracurricular activity. We meet after school, but the majority of the students who are involved are part of my drama classes. We had multiple discussions about applied theater, so they were familiar with the art form. And it's a very different art form than traditional theater.
When I go to school, it's like a hellhole.
The first person I played was in a spoken word piece, and they were basically talking about how the internet affected them in bullying. I feel a similarity between the spoken word piece in my life because throughout my entire elementary school year I was bullied. And I also was a bully.
So last night I was in dance class.
Wait, you dance?
Yeah, why?
Like ballet?
Well, not just
The play
ballet.
goes through different, through different types of bullying, shows examples of bullying, shows what the victims are feeling as well as the bullies, and kind of brings more personal attention to it rather than kind of the overplayed don't bully aspects.
One student wrote about the fact that she felt that bullying was in the shadows, that it was a shadow activity, that we never really see the faces, we never really hear the problems because it's a very underground activity, which is true. It was such a powerful word and such a powerful image that the students and I all agreed that we would adopt that term as the title of the show.
They push me around, they call me gay. I'm not gay.
When I am playing Carl Joseph Walker Hoover, I am playing someone who has tried everything. He's tried talking to the kids to try and reason with them. He's done all that he can possibly think of, and nothing's helping. When that day comes that they just drive him over the edge, he thinks that his only option is to kill himself.
I was down to my next and final move.
I am trying to pursue his helplessness He's not as much angry, as much sad or distraught as he is helpless.
How much impact?
This piece has had a much bigger impact than I think we realized it was going to. When we started this journey, we went to the administration with this idea that drama and theater could add more value than just entertainment. And we brought a list of issues that the students felt was important. And one of them was bullying and violence. And the administration thought that was a great idea. This was before Tyler Clementi committed suicide. This was before the new anti-bullying legislation. And the students spent all summer creating these questions and creating these surveys. And they did all of this work and they created this piece. And when we first did it, the first group of people we did it for were the teachers and administration at our own high school. And there was dead silence at the end of it. I mean, dead silence. And we were like, okay, maybe it's really bad. We didn't know. You get so close. And then we just got a flood of emails and people stopping the students in the hall and people crying, calling me and crying on the phone about how they didn't realize and they hadn't seen and they hadn't paid enough attention and they didn't realize what was going on underneath their own noses. Since then, we have performed it for over 4,000 people. Districts, teachers at professional development, the New Jersey School Board Association. Right. The impact has been overwhelming.
The kids, like Nick, we just saw this young man at the end of the clip. Nick and the others, what do they get out of it? They get a number of things. They get, first of all, a sense that their voices get heard. Oftentimes in education, we talk to the students or at the students. This is their voice. This was their baby. They created it. We just acted as facilitators. We stayed out of their way and let them take this journey. So it was really their project. But more importantly, they feel like they're the voices of people who are afraid to speak. So when they speak about doing this project, oftentimes they'll say they feel this burden of responsibility, that they're actually the voices of the victims who are afraid to tell the truth. And when they talk about doing the show, they have these students come up to them from other districts, just come up to them and hug them and say, I was bullied for 6 years, thank you so much. So they feel this, it's a different type of rush than you get from doing regular theater. They just feel this tremendous sense of empowerment from this. Now for you, as a professional who has extensive experience in theater, television, you know, stage, screen, the whole bit. What's it like for you? Because you know what it's like to be involved in a different kind of performing. What's it like for you to be a part of this?
This to me is much more impactful, to be honest. I mean, I've been part of, as you said, the commercial scene, and I've been part of tremendously successful commercial endeavors. But when you see some of these kids' faces, like we had this young man come up to us at one event, an awkward young man, skinny kid, big, huge backpack, was bigger than he was. And he came up and he said to the kids, I've been bullied ever since I got to this district. And he started crying. And he just stayed and talked with the kids for like a half hour after the show. And you know that you're touching people. And this to me is a much more, I keep using the word empowering, but I can't think of another word. It feels like it has value.
Jennifer is one of the many educators we recognize. Jennifer Little, drama teacher at Franklin High School, creator of Shadows. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wonderful work.
Thank you so much.
One-on-one will continue right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org and visit us online at oneonone.org.
There she is, Jeanne DelColle, history teacher, Burlington County Institute of Technology, 2012 New Jersey Teacher of the Year. How you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
How's that sound? You like that?
It's still hard getting used to, yeah.
You love history, right?
I do, very much so.
We're about to set up this video. Tell us real quick the Civil War connection.
I ended up getting involved in a project with the Burlington County Historical Society, and when I walked in this summer and introduced myself, they had a collection of letters from a 17-year-old local Civil War soldier and asked if my class would be interested in transcribing them, and I said absolutely.
Powerful. This is part of our Classroom Close-Up series we do in conjunction with our partners at the New Jersey Education Association. It speaks for itself.
Miss DelColle sent me an email over the summer saying that she had this project and would I be interested? And I was like, heck yeah.
The goal of the project is to take the letters from a 17-year-old local Civil War soldier named David Hankins and his cousins Samuel and Zachariah, and to actually transcribe them from their beautiful calligraphy, handwritten pieces of artwork that they are into a computer database that teachers can eventually access, and we're going to do lesson plans that go along with it. And we're going to have a student-led exhibition in the spring once the letters are done with the artifacts that the Historical Society has.
When I heard about this opportunity, I just jumped on it because it's a piece of history that I'm a part of, basically.
They realized that, yeah, there was some important stuff that happened around here, and they are as much of a part of history today as he was back then.
He was in a war. He was fighting for his life. He was worried about his family. He lived where I live.
We have taken a couple of the letters that we thought were some of the juicier letters, and we're going to turn them into videos.
Dear friend, I received your very welcome letter the 9th inst, and I was very much pleased to hear from you. I was home in June, and I tell you I had a nice time of it.
The way he writes, it's like you actually want to sit down and have a conversation with him. It was real. The words came alive.
He writes about the girls and how New Jersey girls are better. Jersey girls are better than Southern women who used to chew tobacco and spit, evidently.
When I heard that Miss DelColle won Teacher of the Year, I literally almost cried.
She deserved it because all this, like when we were in class, she was saying, "Oh, I'm still going to school." Like she's gone to school 3 times already and she's still going.
She's a student of her craft. She continues to learn in her craft. She's enthusiastic about it. Again, she brings enthusiasm in the classroom as far as her instructional approach. So I think she has all the pieces and she wants to continue to learn.
I wasn't surprised at all. We all knew it. Like, we all knew she was material for Teacher of the Year. It was just a matter of them figuring it out.
She really did it. I was so proud of her. I couldn't have been more happy for her.
I like to work with young people. I like to travel and bring those experiences back. And if I can help one of them sort of find their way out in the world, or maybe think about things in a different way, or want to go and explore the world, then I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Wow. How great. What did that feel like to do it and then to see it? And to see that reaction?
I didn't see the kids tape their part of the interview, so I know that they enjoyed coming in to work on the letters, but I didn't realize what an impact it had on them until I saw them speaking about it later. And it really left its mark, because that's what you want history to do. You want history to reach out and touch them, to realize that they are a part of it, and that it is important, that it's relevant, that it happens all around them every day and not just in some history book and in some class for 45 minutes a day.
When you envision the idea of doing this with the Historical Society, do you envision the end game, meaning you're coming up with a lesson plan, you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to bring history to life, this 17-year-old David Hankins? Do you say to yourself that, I mean, particularly Ebony, I can't imagine how she was viewing this, right? Do you think of her when you're doing this and saying, I wonder, I want to have a certain impact on her, or is it, I'm going to do it and it'll go where it goes?
I think that a project like this sort of leads itself to curiosity for the kids. So my goal is to make them want to dig in further and find out more about what was going on, to get them interested, to maybe see where there are some things where they have similarities between what happened in 1860 and what's going on today. So you are sensitive to the ideas at the time, and it does bring up a lot of conversations in class that the students generally feel free to discuss in my class. We have open discussions about race and the roles of race during the Civil War, and so it's a safe place for them to explore and discover and not be judged, and kind of look inside another person's head and see what they were thinking at the time.
What kind of reaction do you get from your colleagues?
It varies. It varies. I love doing these things that are slightly off the wall, that sort of, you never know if it's going to work, if it's not going to work. I think that's part of the teachable moment. An opportunity presents itself. You have to sort of grab the opportunity and see where it'll take you. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but I mean, that's what teaching is all about.
When did you know?
Oh goodness, I didn't know until I actually went in to substitute teach in a class. I did not want to be a teacher. When I was approached, when I was in high school and told I would make a good teacher someday, I thought, oh God, why would I want to do that? There's no respect, there's no paycheck. Summer vacations are great, but why would I want to do that? And I went and pursued a few other degrees and got a job and didn't like it. I had no heart for me. And so I came home and went to visit the teacher, the mentor, who's still my friend. And he said, what's going on? You lost your smile. And I said, something's missing. It's not there for me. And he says, look, I told you you'd make a good teacher. Go try it. And of course, okay, get over the hard-headedness, and off I went. And went into an 8th grade class after spring break where the kids were just crazy and sort of was awakened, and every sense you have has to be aware. You develop like superhero powers, eyes in the back of your head, ears everywhere, the ability to see when objects are flying across the room. And I loved it, and came home and sat on the couch, and my mom looked at me as I had that glazed over look of exhaustion, and she says, oh my God, what'd they do to you? And I was like, I don't know, man, but I love it. I can't wait to go back tomorrow. And I knew, and that was it. I knew. I'd been ignoring it, but I knew.
2012, as the State Teacher of the Year, you're not in the classroom, but you're going around as an ambassador and doing this job, and we're proud of you.
Thank you.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org and visit us online at oneonone.org.
Andrew Yeager is Student Assistance Coordinator at Park Ridge, New Jersey, and also co-executive producer of a terrific video piece called Sticks and Stones, and a certified school psychologist. Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us, before we get about to see a clip from the Classroom Close-Up series with the NJEA, tell us about what Sticks and Stones was all about.
Well, it's a film about cyberbullying primarily, but it really is about many other things. We actually had been speaking both to our students and really throughout the state on the issue of cyberbullying, which was really hitting big, and nobody was equipped to handle it. People didn't even understand it. And we sat around saying, gee, wouldn't it be nice if we had some kind of program for cyberbullying? We looked around, and there's just nothing out there. So we decided to put something out there.
And it's interesting. What kind of reaction have you gotten from it?
Incredible. This is something that the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office embraced. A colleague of mine at the Park Ridge Police Department, Lieutenant Joe Rampolla, and I kind of were the ones who were ruining the fact that there was just nothing out there. And we go out and we do a lot of speaking about the problem to kids, to parents, to organizations, to law enforcement. And we said, gee, wouldn't it be nice if we had some kind of program like, and we referenced a film called Stone Cold, which is a DWI prevention film. I was involved in the making of that film as well. And we actually brought it to the people, Chase Wilson and Montvale, who made Stone Cold, and said, do you think we could do a Stone Cold on internet safety? They said, oh, what a wonderful idea, and we need to do this, but then how do we actually make it happen? Well, then Lieutenant Rampolla, who's a member of the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office Computer Crimes Task Force, brought it to the prosecutor's office, and they embraced it completely, and then now we're in a position.
You ready to see this?
I'm ready to see it.
You've seen it before, but some of you, most of you out there have not, but now you're about to see it. Sticks and Stones from Classroom Close-Up.
Did you see that picture? Yeah, it was hilarious.
What a faggot. DeMarco the homo.
I heard his profile is on a bunch of gay porn sites. No way. That's disgusting.
What a freak.
What a pervert. Leave him alone.
There's no question this is an unflinching look at the nature of cyberbullying, both for the victim, the bully, and the bystander. This is taken right from the headlines of most newspapers. You see the consequences of cyberbullying all the time.
Come on, Lynn, you should talk to him. Looks like he needs to talk to you.
Shut up. Oh my God.
If you're not going to talk to him, I will.
It's very hard to get kids to pay attention to a lesson for a full class period. And our goal was to create that experience so that it really got their attention, but also got across all of the points that we wanted to make about this very important topic.
Like other schools, we have the substance abuse issues here. We have the bullying issues. The bullying issue, I think, rises to the top a little more because of the anonymity of the internet. Bullying has become more prevalent.
What were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind as you were watching that film?
Pain.
Because it's a very intense program, we want to make sure that it's going out there responsibly and that the people who are showing it, which are primarily teachers at this point, have sufficient training. Now, the film is accompanied by a fairly extensive teacher's guide, which really takes teachers step by step through how to set up the film, show the film, and most importantly, how to process the film.
We set a 2.5-hour block of time to show the film and to have the process right after the film.
Do you think hate speech is easier to use it online than it is to use face-to-face, Alex?
People are able to say much more than they ever would online, rather than in real life. And I think that hate speech has grown accordingly.
It's from like another kid's perspective and like what could actually happen and what probably does happen every day. It changes your mind about things and changes how you think.
I think it's really awesome that adults reached out to us and kind of looked from a teenager's perspective because, you think adults, they don't know what we're going through. High school is, drama and crazy, and I think it's really cool that they got behind what a teenager goes through every day.
What kind of reaction have you gotten?
It's just incredible. We decided, we were hoping that this would go throughout Bergen County and then hopefully throughout most of New Jersey. It's international. It's being shown right now in just about every state in the United States and probably, at last count, maybe 15 other countries throughout the world, Africa, Europe.
How'd you get these kids?
It was really wonderful. We just did an open casting call and we notified all the schools, to kind of let your drama teachers know that we're doing this open casting. I was a part of that and it was an amazing experience because what do I know about filmmaking? And just the number of kids that showed up and to watch that whole process, how the director and the writers were there, and in many ways they knew immediately when a kid walked in and said, that's who we want.
You told our producers that students have two brains. What does that mean?
Well, basically, I could go into any health room, health class in any school in any part of this country or the world for that matter, and ask kids, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad are the following things? And I could say driving while intoxicated, or drug addiction, or bullying, or cyberbullying, or hate speech, or just on and HIV, pregnancy. And they all rated it as a 10. And then I asked them, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to do any of these things? And they usually rate that very low. So we have done actually an excellent job in terms of teaching kids what's dangerous. So we kind of sit back and say, well, we've done our job as communities, as schools, as parents, but why is it that with all of the kids that are rating these behaviors or these potential consequences as very dangerous, that very night or that weekend will go out and engage in those very behaviors that will likely lead to one of those consequences? Well, that's where we get into the different brains. I call the sort of, obviously we don't have two brains, but kids operate with what I call the classroom brain. And that's knowing the right answer, and they know what to say, they know what to do. And in many ways, and I think this is the important part, they believe it. And I do believe them when they say it on a Thursday morning in health class. But Friday night, when everybody's together and they're at a party or they're over a friend's house and they're in what I call the heat of the moment, they're operating more from what I call the heat of the moment brain. And it's a very different experience, so that the very kid who honestly commits to healthy behavior finds themselves in a situation that they're not prepared for, and now they're doing things that they wouldn't ordinarily do or saying things that they wouldn't ordinarily say and getting themselves into a lot of difficulty. Now, that happens primarily because of four things, and the way I say it is what makes the brain hot if this is the heat of the moment. Number one is pure physiology. The teenage brain is is kind of going through a process of maturation where it is a little bit more difficult for them to tie in present behavior with future consequences, to be able to postpone gratification. And there's a lot of other factors, but kind of everything that you would think of. If I showed you a list of what the frontal lobes in particular of the brain are responsible for, you would say that's what's wrong with kids these days. So there is that basic physiology, but the two main things are, one is heightened emotion, and I would include sexual arousal with that, and peer influence.
I was thinking about the use of the film, teachers. It's for teachers and for students, but I noticed that it's incredibly emotional and powerful. Why did it have to be so impactful?
First of all, we wanted to make a film.
There's no sugarcoating here.
Not at all. In fact, this is an unflinching look at what's going on from a teenager's perspective. And we felt we had to do that, A, for credibility, because we needed kids to relate to this film. We had to tell their story, which is why, as you saw in the clip, that the one girl who was saying that she thought it was great that adults actually reached out. We did. We had focus group after focus group, and we wanted to know from kids, what is your experience? Because if this film isn't believable from beginning to end, we're going to lose them. So they have to be able to relate to it. Why is it so impactful? Well, the research is pretty clear that when you create kind of an emotionally intense situation, learning takes place a lot more comprehensively. So, in our generation, I could ask anybody, where were you when JFK was shot? Now you can say, where were you on 9/11? If you've ever been in a car crash, when emotion is running high, our ability to remember things and to learn things is exquisite. We could remember what song was on the radio, what we were wearing that day. We've tried to take advantage of that and deliberately create a very emotionally evocative film so that when we do teach after the film and we do the processing and we do the activities, that the emotional window is open and that really stamps in the learning. So we're just really piggybacking on what the research tells.
And in the couple of seconds we have left, cyberbullying, sexting, all this stuff, it's a new form of bullying. I don't know if it's more sophisticated or not, but it's more pervasive. 30 seconds, quick advice for parents.
Well, it's significantly more pervasive, and the first thing is the parents just need to know what kids are doing online, and that's the first thing. Let kids show them. Show me what is Facebook. Show me what's instant messaging. Be a part of the learning. Kids don't mind as long as they're not self-incriminating.
By the way, I cut you off there. You're going to get more information. Go on to our website. We'll link you up to Classroom Close-Up. You were terrific, and you're doing a great job with these kids.
Thanks so much for having me, Steve.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, working for great public schools for every child. Wells Fargo, the law firm of Gibbons PC, PSC&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. And by Barnabas Health. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJEA.com, Everything Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.
Education reform is too important to get wrong. That's why NJEA's plan establishes a strong evaluation process that identifies excellent teachers, removes ineffective ones, and ensures hiring and firing is based on performance, not politics or standardized tests that are unfair to students and teachers. We all want the best teachers in every classroom, because when it comes to education reform, NJEA believes students come first. NJEA, great public schools for every child.